2, phase 2. We've been listening to more from Andy Coles. It's been fucking mental, to be honest. He's come out with, essentially he's being questioned about the relationship with Jessica. Rather than just going, oh no, nothing happened, and sticking to what he put in his witness statement, Andy Coles decided to present a whole bunch of new information which he has, as to now, never mentioned before, directly contradicting what is in his witness statement, directly contradicting numerous other statements he's given previously. I'm joined with Kate Wilson. What do you make of it?
I'm in shock. It is staggering. It is absolutely staggering what he has just come out with.
I think it's best summed up with something which David Barr said. He said, whilst sharing a single bed, as a 32-year-old police officer, whilst sharing a single bed with a 19-year-old woman who had propositioned you to have sex with her, and you prevaricated with talk of the lack of vegan condoms, are you suggesting this is something you've forgotten?
I mean, it's just staggering. So, as Barr helpfully summed up, he says, unbelievable. It's just, I mean, everyone is just walking around in shock right now. So he said that he never had a sexual relationship with Jessica. In his sworn witness statement, he actually said that he never even discussed sex with Jessica. He's now saying that they never had a sexual relationship, but they did share her single bed. He's kind of a bit vague about the number of times.
I mean, he also, when there's direct questions about it, rather than answering direct questions, he starts to move on anecdotes, which appears to be largely off topic. And then comes back around to sort of being a bit. I mean, when he was asked, "Did you kiss her?" He's like, "Well, I mean,
how do you define kissing?" And in social situations, Anyway, when faced with the letters that were brought up during Jessica's evidence, handwritten letters where she writes about the relationship that she's having with him, he says, "Oh well, yes, of course she would, because when I was in her single bed, explaining that I wasn't going to have sex with her because of the condoms not being vegan." I promised her that we would have a relationship when she got back from France. So, of course, she went to France believing we were in a relationship, but we never were. I mean, it was just staggering. And this is from the man who has previously denied having any kind of sexual relationship
or even conversation about it.
And specific, I mean, he was asked by Barr. I mean, Barr was obviously a bit taken aback by this. And he was like, well, why have you never mentioned this before? And he was like, well, I've never been asked. And he said, well, did you not mention this in your witness statement? He said, well, nobody ever asked me this question. And so Barr actually went back to the questions. He was sent 100 questions about his relationship with Jessica.
Sexual relationship with Jessica?
Yes, by the inquiry for this, before giving witness evidence here, he was providing a written statement. 100 questions, one of which was, did you ever discuss sex with Jessica? To which he answered, no. Not, yeah, well, I was in bed with her and we talked about whether or not to have sex and we decided not to because the condoms weren't vegan. It's just like, what the fuck, dude?
At the same time, he went off on some great length about the difference in the handwriting between the two letters, claimed that somehow that the inquiry was being misled by a forgery. Just nonsense,
it's just
nonsense.
What it is. And we're going into the details, but there's actually no point going into the details.
Sure.
What it is this man is being faced with questions and he's making stuff up on the hoof.
Yes.
I mean, that's really evident, and he's done that every time he's been questioned about it. And I mean, it is a little bit this Spycops thing of he's presented with something new, and we've seen it with Spycops who are uncovered, and they kind of make up stories to explain what they think they need to explain, and if what they need to explain expands, well, they just expand the story a bit.
Yeah.
And that's what he's doing. It is quite staggering. I'm not sure whether that bit was live streamed because
so there was a section of the live stream that was turned off. It related to the evidence of Callum. And the ALF supports group stuff, nothing to do with Jessica's stuff.
Right, okay, so this stuff should be on YouTube.
It is on YouTube, yeah.
I actually really recommend watching it because it is impossible to convey the nonsense of it. And I mean, I can't actually see Mitting's face from where I'm sitting, but I would like to know what he is making of it because it really is.
I mean, there's. It's not just that. So,
staggering.
As well as the handwriting, which he claims is fake, he also came out with a lot of stuff about there being the person who told him that Jessica was in the ALF was Benny Hills in Barmer, that there was BBC investigative journalists following people around, so he had to stay the night at their house. I mean, lots of really, really off-topic nonsense.
Yes.
That just to fill the time, whilst he desperately thought about what he was actually going to say in relation to the direct questioning. Because the questioning could not have been more direct, and his answers could not have been more round the houses. It was madness.
But you know, he has been given enough rope to hang himself.
Oh, more than that.
I mean, there was a point where, you know, it looked like he was actually doing quite a good job of responding. He's not doing the Lambert thing of trying to pretend that he's cognitively impaired. Like, you know, and he did appear to be answering the questions quite well, but he's fucked it. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I think he really has fucked it. I mean, I think essentially he's trying to be too clever by half. What Lambert did was deny everything, claim there was no wrongdoing whatsoever, to do with the criminality, obviously admitted the relationships. What Coles is doing is admitting little bits and then just making the story more and more complicated, creating more and more holes, leaving more and more opportunities for him to get caught out. He's not going to last this for 3 days.
No.
There's no way. We need to go back in fairly soon. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you all at the end of the day.